When it comes to cities, crime is as much of a problem as there are many big issues. There are always reasons for crime, these reasons can change over time, and the punishments for these crimes can also change. As urban centers learn the reasons behind different crimes, their governments purposely try to develop the means to combat them. And, as these governments try to establish laws, policies, and social programs to combat crime and its causes, it also tends to trigger controversy, as people and organizations disagree with the policies, politics, and monetary appropriations directed towards social programs meant to combat those crimes. Crime is defined as a violation of a law in which there is injury to the public or a member of the public and a term in jail or prison, and/or a fine as possible penalties. There is some sentiment for excluding from the crime category crimes without victims, such as consensual acts, or violations in which only the perpetrator is hurt or is involved in something such as the personal use of illegal drugs. The major crimes include murder, non-negligent manslaughter, aggravated assault, rape, drug possession or selling, robbery, which includes burglary, larceny, and motor vehicle theft, and will be explained later, and arson. According to the FBI records, 1,246,248 violent crimes were committed in the year 2010. Reasons why people commit crimes. 1. Losing control of one's emotions or physiology. There are many stories, very diverse from one another, all of which seem to derive from the lack of control of one's emotions. Poor judgment may also be included in this category, because if you were better able to practice risk-benefit consequence analysis, you might have better controlled your behavior. 2. Connections with drugs and alcohol. Perhaps the person is impaired because of too much alcohol, and ends up doing something that they wouldn't have done without impaired judgment, which would have left them in a state to more clearly see consequences to their actions, and develop the mindset to fight the feeling or thought. 3. Bad influences. We find that many times a person, especially people who are habitual criminal offenders, commit crimes because that is all they know, from the environment that surrounds them, and/or because of the peer influence around them. Perhaps they're from a bad neighborhood, and the only people they see getting ahead in life, or getting out of the misery of poverty and hopelessness, are the people who do some sort of illegal, or criminal activity. 4. Mental disorders. There is no telling how many crimes are done by people who have some kind of mental disorder, one which is difficult to control, even with proper medications or psychological treatments. 5. Poverty and homelessness. There are those that believe that there is a strong connection between poverty and homelessness, and the amount of crime in an area. This theory is known as strain theory, in that social strains on individuals, to achieve upward financial mobility, are causing those individuals to act out in ways that are illegal, since legal means to achieve that upward mobility are not available to them. Government policies that have helped to lower crime rates. There are several government policies, many of which are controversial, and a couple which are based on court decisions which are disputed, that have been the possible causes for why the crime rates have lowered over the course of the last 2 decades. 1. More prisons. One of these reasons is the fact that in the last few decades we have built more prisons, incarcerated more criminal offenders, and leave them in prison longer. All of this adds up to the fact that in times past, criminals were more likely to be on the street, especially repeat offenders, committing criminal acts and hurting people, but that today those same people are more likely to be kept behind bars. 2. More police. We also find that there are now more police officers employed per capita than there were in the past, especially in the larger cities like Chicago and New York City, but also in medium-sized cities like Indianapolis and Kansas City. 3. Theft. Deterrent Technologies and Services. Another possible reason for lowered crime rates are that people who see themselves, and their property, as potential threats to thefts are more likely to protect themselves by home security systems, car theft deterrent systems, OnStar and equivalent services, and so forth. Increased amounts of police cameras can also be included in this category. 4. Allowing concealed weapons. Another interesting fact that will be found is that in the last few years court decisions have been made that now allow people in certain cities that had gun bans in effect to now allow for people to carry concealed weapons, allowing them more likelihood to protect themselves in bad situations. 5. Shrinking cocaine use. Reduced consumption of cocaine is another argument for the decrease in crime. Better government policy and societal solutions to reduce urban crime. So, what are some policy solutions that we, as a society, can make to help decrease the crime rates that have infested the inner-city central core areas of our nation's metropolitan areas? What are some policy solutions that we could make in our society to decrease our crime rates? Here are some solutions, based on what an understanding of the core causes of criminal activity. 1. Government should make proper education of the core causes of crime a priority. If school students can be taught about the information, such as that listed in the report that was used earlier in this writing, from an early age, then maybe they can start to make better decisions as they get older. 2. Government should hold hearings into all government social programs that deal with helping the poor, or try to stop criminal activity, and see if they really work. 3. We can do a lot to try to improve the possibility of healthy family structures in our nation. 4. We could make helping the poor among us a more local matter, making the issue more personal, rather than a matter of a distant government state who uses cookie-cutter methods of help for everyone, and which can be seen as distant and impersonal. 5. For those people who are already adults, and have the type of emotional and discipline issues that can lead to themselves committing crimes, where changing family environment is often too late to help them, since they're already grown up, we should put programs in place that help to improve their emotional state and their ability to be disciplined, and have control of their emotions. 6. When it comes to reducing the possibility of rape or incest, it is more difficult to find a solution. We could help people understand the importance of responsible sexual expression, and we could help people understand that they can provide their own relief rather than forcing someone else to provide it for them. 7. Teach young adults, particularly those in high school, how to properly manage their finances. Young people, these days, are properly taught the discipline in how to spend less than they make in income, how to watch their spending, how to practice self-control when it comes to impulse buying, how to stay out of debt, how to put away money in savings, especially for emergency purposes, and how to establish the kind of good credit score needed to get that future home or business loan.